Lincoln Center Theater's award-winning production of My Fair Lady is in Chicago currently, here through March 17th. We have Michael Hegarty, who plays Alfred Doolittle, and to talk all about the production. Thank you so much for your time today.
Well, thank you for having me.
We're celebrating 60th anniversary of the movie, and then the stage production came out shortly thereafter. I mean, so this is so many generations of families are loving the show.
Yeah, it's a great show, obviously with a great history, and this is a great new production, and we're really excited to bring it here to Chicago.
If you don't make it out to New York, then you kind of miss these opportunities. So it's awesome that this version is getting a chance to tour the United States.
Yeah, it's really great. I was actually fortunate to see the Lincoln Center production back in 2019. And then, of course, I had no idea I was going to be in it back then. But yeah, it's really great.
Awesome. Let's talk a little bit about the character of Alfred and a little bit about what you bring to him.
Well, so Alfred P. Doolittle is the father of Eliza Doolittle, who is the main character of the show. And he is a Cockney dustman, which basically means he cleans out the trash. And he spends a lot of time in the bars, hanging out with his friends. He really only talks to his daughter when he needs money to go drinking. So he's not the best father in the world. And he goes through a little bit of a transformation in this. We leave him very differently than how we found him in the beginning of the show.
And you also get a little bit of comic relief in the show as well too. Talk a little bit about bringing those parts to the character.
Yeah, it's really great. I mean, I think Alfie really represents this world that Eliza's coming from, that she's trying to leave behind. He's this reminder of where she comes from. And the other thing about him is he kind of is a bit of a philosopher, and he has a way of life that he likes to live by, and he has certain beliefs that he has about society and about marriage and about all kinds of things. And he kind of gives voice to that to whoever will listen, basically. And then, like I said, when things change for him, and he's forced to face all of those beliefs that he has about money and about life, it's kind of thrown in his face, and it's how he reacts to it and how he deals with it that I think is really the funny part. It gets a big laugh from the audience.
That is amazing. Get Me to the Church on Time. Let's talk a little bit about that number.
Yeah. So it's funny that number it very much comes off like a celebration. It's kind of a bachelor party, as Alfie is being led to the altar in the morning. And it's the way our director, Bartlett Sher, the way he envisions that number this is less of a wedding and more of a funeral for Alfie. This is the worst day of his life. This is the last thing he ever wanted to do. So that party is basically, I'm gonna drink and party my face off, and I'm leaving it up to you guys to make sure I get to the church on time, because I can't do it on my own. If you leave it to me, I probably won't make it. So it's up to you guys to get me there, drag me there, and throw me on the altar.
We all have that kind of friend. Everyone can probably close their eyes and think of one kind of person they have like that in their life.
Exactly.
And as far as some of the changes with the Lincoln Center version, let's talk a little bit about how it's updated, how it's changed. I mean, we talked about a little bit about that number, but what our audience is going to see.
Well, Bart really wanted to, the play, the musical My Fair Lady is based on a play, Pygmalion, by George Bernard Shaw. And Bart really wanted to bring the Shaw back into the piece. So he doesn't change anything per se. There's no content change, but he brings in little nods to Shaw's politics. Shaw was Shaw was a socialist. Shaw was a feminist. He was atheist. So he brings a lot of those, that kind of philosophy and that sensibility of Shaw into it. And a lot of people talk about the quote unquote ending. When Shaw wrote his play, it had one ending. Then they made a movie of the play in the 30s while he was still alive, and they kind of changed the ending a little bit and gave a little bit, hinted at maybe a romantic ending for Higgins and Eliza, the leads. And apparently Shaw hated it. And the musical is actually based on that movie. So it's reasonable to assume that Shaw would have hated the end of the movie, of the musical. So Bart figured out a really, I think, clever way to both honor the ending of the musical, but also give a nod to Shaw as well. So it's definitely one of those endings where the audience, when I come out of the stage door, I hear the audience talking about the end a lot. And, everybody has their own opinion, draws their own conclusions from it, which I like.
And you just mentioned the fan reaction. I mean, especially,
Yeah.
This show meaning so much. I'm sure there's been audience members who have seen every reincarnation and every tour that's come through town. And there's going to be some younger audience members, and this might be their first exposure to this on stage. I mean, tell me what it's like, especially seeing some of those younger viewers, in the audience come up at the stage door, and what this experience was like for them.
Yeah, I remember the beginning of last year when we started our tour with a second national tour. The tour's been out since 2019, but we joined in the fall of 2022. And I think it was Dallas we were performing. And for some reason at this performance, there were a lot of what sounded like high school girls, like teenage girls in the audience. It was a very, very big house. And these girls responded so strongly to Eliza's story. I mean, and again, Bart really goes out of his way to give Eliza agency in this, that she has made this choice. This is her decision to do this, to go to him, to offer to pay him money for lessons. It's all her. It's right in the script. So his concept of Eliza is a much more strong, empowered young woman, and the young women, particularly the high school age girls, really, really responded to that, and they were cheering and they're screaming when she comes out for the curtain call. I mean, it's really great.
Take a moment to chat a little bit about Annette, who plays Eliza.
Yes. Oh, she's great. So Annette is, Eliza's young. I think in Pygmalion she's like 20, and she's often cast professionally. They cast older women to play her. I guess they age the actresses down, and I don't know what the reasoning behind that is, whether it's celebrity status or whatever, but I think a lot of it has to do with a 20-year-old woman in 1913 London, who's independent, who earns her own money, who lives her own life. She father doesn't do anything for her. She lives on her own. So the actress needs to bring a lot to that role as far as life experience and wisdom and backstory and all that. And for a younger actress, that can be a challenge. But Annette brings it every night. She's strong. She sings the heck out of that number every night. That's what people are waiting for. I could have danced all night. And she does an amazing job. And I have two great scenes with her that I love performing with her every night. So it's really great to see her on stage.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting. I mean, especially now getting to the age where you have different musicals or shows or movies that you grew up with and you have a certain opinion or they hold a special place, in your life. And then you see a younger generation react to those characters, whether they love them or they hate them or they identify with them in a different way. And It's so cool to get that perspective. And I love that this show is doing that for them.
Absolutely. Yeah. And even the way the audience, the modern audience reacts to Henry Higgins is very different. It's they view him a lot more negatively, I think, than maybe audiences 50, 60 years ago.
That is amazing. Well, Michael, thank you
Yeah.
so much for your time today. Don't miss My Fair Lady now in Chicago through March 17th. Of course, St. Patrick's Day, so it's a fun weekend for the cast to be here in Chicago. We always do a really big here, so I
Yeah.
hope you guys get a chance to go out and check out our Green River and some of the
I can't wait.
celebrations after the show.
Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to it.
Wonderful. My Fair Lady, Nederlander Theater, Broadway and Chicago.com for tickets, and we'll see you in Chicago very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.